This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPHT or its management.
Now on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor.
If we don't move in our own direction, we're going to become extinct. In fact, in some cases, we're close to being extinct right now.
Presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Serious doctors for serious injuries. And powered by the law offices of Pond, Lehocky, Stern, Giordano. Talk, listen, and speak to the region's most influential leaders. It's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor.
And a good Saturday evening, everybody, and welcome into Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty as we broadcast to you live from down at 4th and Market, overlooking the city, and what is a great night tonight. Cold, but a fantastic night. We're glad to be here for the next 60 minutes, presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness, serious doctors for serious injuries. And I welcome in John Dougherty into the show on a Saturday night. And wow, John, did you show up with a treat tonight? Woo! Jace, let me have that drum roll. A treat tonight as we begin the show, as it's becoming a ritual, almost sacrilegious tonight, but a good one indeed.
Yeah, then Saturday night before the St. Patrick's Day parade, I show up with meatball parms from Pastificio down at 1528 Packer, between Chicky and Pete's and Termini's down there, tucked away, as the people inside this building continue to say the best sandwich they've ever had. I'm telling you, I got to get people out of some of these little areas where they live and get them down South Philly, try some of this good food.
Pastificio, well done. J-Doc here in the studio as well. J-Doc, you are quickly becoming, I don't want to say the food critic, because you consume it too quickly to be able to appreciate it.
No comment.
But how was it, brother?
Unbelievable, man. I'll tell you, certainly, I know there was a limit on me tonight. We had a limit of one cheesesteak. I saw the security when I came in. The other a one meatball sandwich. But I got to tell you, it was an amazing, amazing meatball sandwich. And so I should be definitely, good to at least say 8:30 tonight.
The meatball parm from Pastificio here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty.
Yeah, we got a good friend, maybe one of the labor movement's best elected officials, Philadelphia City Controller, Alan Butkovitz. Alan?
Hi, John. How you doing?
Good, buddy. Listen, we try to give you real news here. We don't do too much fake news around here. So give us tomorrow we're here in the Inquirer. Might be a continuation of your investigation into the Mayor Fund story. Why don't you give your friends here at Saturday Night Live with Labor a little heads up on what they're going to be expecting tomorrow?
Well, when Mayor Kenny came into office a year ago, he and his people did not like the feel of what they saw going on at the Fund for Philadelphia, and they asked us to do a deep dive and investigate it. And we've been investigating it for well over a year and a half now. And we issued a report back in August, and we pointed out that there were a number of questionable credit card transactions. When the Pope came to town, they spent $51,000 out of that fund to pay for hotel rooms for top city VIPs at the Courtyard Marriott. They paid for a lot of money for flights to Rome. And Mayor Nutter was kind of outraged that anybody would even take a look at this stuff. I got sued for even reporting on our initial findings. That suit was knocked out by Judge Messiah Jackson a few weeks ago, and we are extensively digging, and we're going to have a progress report in a few weeks. I believe the Inquirer is going to be discussing the history of questionable spending at the Fund for Philadelphia during the past decade tomorrow.
Now, Alan, it's Joe Dougherty. I want to clarify. Let's make sure our listeners know we're talking about the Nutter administration, the mayor's fund at that point.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about this. We would consider a frivolous lawsuit that was just thrown out the other day in regards to this situation.
Yeah, Desiree Peterkin Bell, who was the city representative and the head of the Fund for Philadelphia, became quite enraged that there had been any questioning of the fact that there was very poor record keeping and very questionable expenses during her tenure. And specifically, she was very annoyed that the purchase of an $80 pair of shoes from Macy's was mentioned, and she said this was defamation. Mayor Nutter, I think you recall, called me a liar, a snake, and a hypocrite, and they really got it's pretty routine for us to do these review of departments and to recommend improvements. Sometimes we find substantial wrongdoing, as we did in the sheriff's office, and we find things that are indicators for deeper investigation and for possible fraud.
Now,
The fact that they reacted so intensely actually was a warning signal that that there might be something more here, and we knew that there was no legal basis for a lawsuit. Judge Messiah Jackson, as a matter of fact, when Mayor Nutter was the mayor, he used to make very wide-ranging attacks on people all the time, and he understood the law that applies to public officials in that case. We have to have the freedom to inform the public of our findings as they come up.
We talk about Nutter, and certainly he's been no friend at all to labor. I remember several years back on a show, I estimate that it was about a decade that all the unions, the city unions, were without a contract. If you look collectively speaking, probably over a decade that under his administration, the city unions didn't have a contract. So, nothing but violins here.
And you remember that Temple University professor pointed out because there was no contract, about 40% of the city workers fell below the poverty line during that decade. It was a humiliation for the city. So we're going to be releasing more findings on the Fund for Philadelphia. We're also doing a look back on the Big Belly solar compactors. That was another deal that was made years before Kenny came into office, where they purchased. Philadelphia was the biggest purchaser of Big Belly solar compactors. They bought over 1,000 of them. The largest purchase before that was 54 in Indianapolis, and still somehow they managed to pay a higher price than had ever been paid by any other city for the compactors. And the argument was that they were going to save all sorts of labor costs because these things were going to have radios in them, and they were going to call in and say, "I'm full now, come over and empty me." In fact, none of that stuff worked when we did the initial look at it, and it turned out that we had this huge capital investment. We weren't saving labor costs, and the machines were breaking down early and easily. So now it's been about 4, 5, 6 years since the initial implementation, and we're going to go back. We, in fact, are going back. We'll have a report in a couple of weeks showing whether the city did manage to save any money or whether this was another very bad contract. And the third thing that I want to point out that we've been working on, and I know John and you will be very interested in this, is the fact that most of the country it's recognized now they're in a retirement crisis. The baby boomers are getting into their 70s. It's physically hard for many of them to keep working, and nobody's got any money saved except for the guys in decent unions who've got good plans. So we actually were able to get the Obama administration in their last day in office to adopt a rule saying that cities like Philadelphia could sponsor pension plans for people in the private economy. More than half the people in Philadelphia don't have an option of a paycheck checkoff for retirement savings. The Republicans in Congress defeated that on a straight party vote about 2 weeks ago. But we still have the option of trying to do a multi-employer plan in Philadelphia on a voluntary basis where people who don't have retirement savings can accumulate up to $18,500 a year. So our finding, although the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the right wing fought very vigorously against this, our finding by reaching out to business and financial advisors in Philadelphia is that they actually encouraged this kind of plan because they're having trouble getting people to face the facts about retirement. They think that we would bring in a huge new market, and they believe that eventually they would be able to pick up many more clients. They're not afraid of the city being a competitor to these financial advisors for the business. So,
Alan,
we have a – yeah.
It's Johnny. I want to jump in now. Just so you know, I have a segment here where it's called Inside Baseball. Anytime that you feel like calling in, I will give up my inside baseball. If you want to tell us like who the lobbyist or who the law firm was who were pushing the trash compactors, or you have something you want to give us a little heads up on, feel comfortable because these stories, buddy. If God forbid, if this was a labor leader with a credit card issue, not only would he be on the front page, but his kids would probably be on the front page too. Okay, so I keep doing your work, buddy. Keep digging and keep letting people know, okay, that corruption, okay, runs rampant inside, okay, government in a way that most people never hear about. And you keep doing what you're doing and keep putting it on the front page too.
All right, thanks very much. Okay.
All right, thank you, City Controller.
That's good stuff. That's Alan Butkovitz, the City Controller, joining us here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty, all presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness, serious doctors for serious injuries. Boy, J-Doc, quickly?
Well, I was going to say, I bet Pete Matthews, if he's listening to this broadcast, must be going crazy. Can you imagine that negotiation? We paid the most in the history of the world of any city for solar panels, and I wish that the mayor negotiated with the unions that generously.
Well, it's been about 5 years since the teachers had a contract, too.
We've got a big show lined up for you. Settle in, get the popcorn, and enjoy what's going to be a great broadcast here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. When we come back, Billy Ivers, the president, will join us from the St. Patrick's Day Observance Society. He'll be with us after the break.
Rush.
It tells you you are in America.
Weekdays noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210.
I've been coming out of step with them guys, okay? And I was a treasure of the Democratic Party. I've been a loyal Democrat my whole life. But I've told people, and it hasn't, like I told you, it just didn't resonate with this election. If you look at the last few years, I've been telling people we have to become a little bit more individual. We have to be more of our own brand. We have to do a better job at becoming a business.
Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty, presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness, serious doctors for serious injuries.
All right, Krause, to our listeners, to get connected to PhillyLabor Radio, follow us on Twitter at MyPhillyLabor.
All right, good stuff, J-Doc. We'll remind all of our listeners how to stay connected with us as we enjoy our pastificio sandwiches from South Philadelphia and Federal Donuts. Compliments of B. McCann. Brian, well done, brother. Good stuff.
Right.
The studio can't hold everything. Jace, how good was that meatball sandwich? He said it was fantastic. That's what we do here on Saturday Night Live. By the way, a lot of questions after last week's show. Hey, Krause, what's the definition of inside baseball? That interview with Alan Butkovitz from the City Controller, John, is your definition of inside baseball. Great job.
Well, I think he would have been just a tiny bit better if he would have gave us a little leak on what's happening tomorrow. Now we're going to have to read it. But we'll get stuff out of him down the road. And about B. McCann, he's learning quickly. He traded 6 donuts for his own sandwich. He didn't want to share it anymore.
J-Doc, can you please at least save one donut?
First of all, I saw the big security around the donuts and around the rest of the meatball
It's like a
sandwiches.
fence. You can't even get near. Let's move on here with Saturday Night Live here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Shout out to Center City. A lot of people walking around Center City tonight. Bouncing through the crisp, cold air. And, John, it's going to be crisp and cold tomorrow. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a beautiful day in the city.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's a special day. The St. Patrick's Day Parade is the second largest in America. It starts off with Mass at 9 o'clock at St. Patrick's the Sunday prior to the actual March 17th date. And, again, it's tomorrow. Billy Ivers is the new president, has done a great job. Billy has been involved with changing the route, which I know he's going to explain, and it's going down Market Street. It'll end up, down on 2nd and Market, but you're only 2 minutes away from the Irish Memorial. So if you make the parade, you hang for the day, you enjoy the new route, make sure you stop over and check out the Irish Memorial. What a beautiful piece of art. Billy Ivers, you there?
I'm here.
Jump in. Tell us about tomorrow.
Well, as John said, the Irish Hearts will warm up the route going down tomorrow to the parade. We're starting off at 16th and JFK Boulevard there. We're going to proceed around City Hall, down Market Street, and to our Cradle of Liberty at the Independence Hall, where we have reviewing stands and all things set up, and we have some free ice cream for the kids down there, even though it's cold. I'm sure they'll enjoy it. And we have a lot of new venues this year. We have a lot of new sponsors this year. And we're honoring our police officers this year. And our theme is St. Patrick, protect and guide our police officers in the city. So many.
and also other community leaders. Also, we have union leaders and also other community people that have been so active in the Irish community in Philadelphia. And we're honoring them this year too. So we expect a great crowd tomorrow. We're not going to have the snow. We're going to have a little cold, but that's not going to take us away from what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to celebrate our roots for St. Patrick tomorrow, and the whole city will be involved tomorrow. And we plan to have a great day tomorrow. And I'm so happy to be on here with my good friend, John Dougherty.
Tell us about the Grand Marshal. What a great guy he is.
Barney Boyce is hailed from Donegal. I was there in July. 50-some years, served in Korea here, came in here. He said he didn't know he had an uncle. When he got here, his name was Uncle Sam, and he had lots of cousins. So, Barney's a great guy. He has 6 beautiful children, all entertainers, a music field, and what a great family. And his contribution to the Irish football here and at home in Ireland and everywhere, and other contributions and the organizations that Barney Boyce has been involved with for the last 50 years. What a great family, and so honored that the board of directors and have selected Barney Boyce to be our Grand Marshal this year. All the honorees. A
couple of his kids are make up Blackthorn, don't they?
Yes, they did. They were the original group of Blackthorn and entertained all around the whole city of Philadelphia and our surrounding counties, and they still to this day and participate in all sorts of events and music events all around the city, John. And
Blackthorn's great. I'm a Dropkick Murphy guy, but Blackthorn's my second favorite. I know they get a little crazy. Hey, why don't you spend a little bit of time? Tell the people that we have the Prime Minister from Ireland in too, right?
We have Enda Kenny in, and he's a Mayo man. My parents were born in County Mayo, so I'm so happy to have Enda Kenny and the entourage that's coming in with him tomorrow. He's going to spend a good part of the day with us tomorrow at the Mass, a little reception after, and then he's going to march in the parade, come down to the Cradle of Liberty and review the parade, and he's going to go to the back of Independence Hall and honor the founding of the Navy, Commodore John Barry, with a wreath, and then down the Irish Memorial, and it's going to have a wreath laying down there. So we're so happy. We never had a prime minister in our 1953 since the Arbitration Association took over. But we go back to 1771, and George Washington was a member of the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. So, a lot of history here. As John said, we're the second oldest parade, but we're, one of the oldest of any kind of parade in the United States. So we're so happy to be celebrating our roots tomorrow with all our family and friends, and we know we're going to have a great day. And even my good friend John Dougherty's dad's being honored tomorrow, and what a great guy he is, and his children also. We're so happy to have him as one of our honorees tomorrow, as all our honorees, and there's quite a few of them here. Chief Inspector Joe Sullivan just got promoted to Deputy Commissioner in the city of Philadelphia. We're so happy to him. Michael Meehan of the Meehan family. Sheriff Meehan was a sheriff back in the 40s here in Philadelphia, and so many got Bobby Hurst. I can go on Captain Willie May.
Great crew. Listen,
Bobby
let me tell
Heenan.
you, don't tell my father yet, but he's not walking. We ain't letting him walk. He thinks he's walking. It's 28 degrees, and he wants to, 83 years old. He wants to walk the route. He just wants to wave and hug and kiss. He thinks everybody is the Mummers Parade too.
He's a hardy, strong man, and God bless him. He's still going strong, and he still has a great sense of humor, and we're so happy to have him as one of our honorees this year.
Billy Ivers, president of the St. Patrick Day Observance Society, here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty, prepping for what will be a fantastic day tomorrow in the city of Philadelphia. Billy, thanks very much for calling in the show.
Thanks. God bless the Irish. Thank you.
All right, it's good.
See you, Billy.
Good stuff, Bill.
Awesome.
Good stuff from Billy Ivers checking in here on Saturday Night Live. Right to the phones we go. Mike checking in on the hotline. Mike, welcome into Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. A good Saturday evening to you, sir. How are you?
Great, John. Thank you very much, and thank you for all you do for the parade every year too. You and the labor union for all the work that you do, and making this one of the great events of the city of Philadelphia every year.
Mike Rich joining us. He is the Catholic Alumni President joining us here on Saturday Night Live. Mike, in anticipation of what should be a fantastic day tomorrow as we are preparing for it here, not only on the show tonight, but tomorrow. Be a little cold, but should be a great day tomorrow in the city.
It will be, but we're looking forward to it. This is going to be our 8th year. Our 8th year participating in the parade, and the 7th year for our alumni choir, the Blue and Gray Voices, to perform at the Mass tomorrow morning. And they've done a fantastic job. They keep getting invited back year after year because of the job that they do for the Mass and just bringing all that great music. And I'll tell you, every year when they do Lady of Knock, they get a standing ovation each year, and we're just happy to be able to be a small part of the parade and bring that Catholic pride to the parade, and it's just a great day for everyone.
You definitely do that, Mike. Thanks for everything. See you tomorrow morning at 9:00.
Thank you, John. Take care.
All right, good stuff on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. Doc, you'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's listen, an amazing spectacle of a parade and a lot of pride. Names Dougherty here. Grandmother's maiden name McLaughlin. Grandfather on my mom's side, Haley. So yeah, I mean it's a big deal to all of us, and it's so great to see the tradition, so strong. And it's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow, not 25.
Listen, I just want to let you know, and every one of them right now are having a bad moment because they knew that you killed that meatball parm the night before. There wasn't any ham. There wasn't any cabbage. There wasn't any potatoes here tonight. It was a meatball parm, so stop that nonsense about being 100% Irish.
John, well, I'll be honest, though. I when I was coming in tonight, I really couldn't wait to get here to see what John was bringing. So listen, if it was ham and cabbage, it'd have been gone just as quick.
Hey, just so you know, one of the points about the parade tomorrow, do not forget to put your clock ahead an hour tonight. Got to spring ahead. Okay, we don't want you being late for 9 o'clock. The parade starts on 16th Street around 11. You want to start to gather there, so make sure you move your clock ahead. And then also just want to let you know that our good friends at Villanova are about to become the #1 seed in the whole NCAA tournament. They're beating down on Creighton right now. They're up about 16 to go with about 3.5 left in the game. So Jay Wright, another good guy, and look, I think they're going to run all the way to the end again. They're tough, man.
62-48 as we get ready to go into our break. Stick around. 30 minutes to go in the big show. Don't forget Doc's last word coming up, plus more on Inside Baseball, Trump moments, and a special guest coming up after the break.
Local lives here. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I won't participate on behalf of ourselves here at Local 98 or the Philadelphia Building Trades in conversations that are purely dominated on social issues that don't affect our jobs.
Live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, it's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty.
To get weekly alerts from PhillyLabor Radio, sign up for the PhillyLabor email list at www.phillylabor.com.
And join us every Saturday night as we're here live from 7, 8 o'clock. Trump moments. It's been quiet, right? It's been quiet this week. What's going on?
Yeah, it's not been your normal crazy week, but I'll give you a couple Trump moments. I guess it's 8 weeks now. I still haven't had anybody come up to me and talk about Russia.
Still not
anybody come up and talk to me about Russia.
You know, I'm listening to the audio bite all week on 1210. Nobody's talking about Russia. Who cares?
Listen, everybody's talking about healthcare and their job. And speaking of jobs, I was in New York on Thursday, and so was Sean McGarvey. Sean McGarvey is the president of the National Building Trades. And we will be down in D.C. together with a series of investment people to sit and talk about how we can put this public-private government partnership together. You know, I'm hoping that, we can raise, we're talking big numbers. We're talking, as you know, they're talking trillions, but we're talking mucho billions around here of unionized pension money so that we can come in back into the region, and parlay that money, bond that money up, and be able to put the subways into the Navy Yards, fix the bridges that have cracks, and we're looking forward to doing it. It's one of the things that we have in common. There's a lot of things we disagree on, but the things that we have in common, people joke, and as you said last week, play footsie with Trump. I don't play footsies with anybody. I play footsies with my members. And again, nobody's talking to me about Russia, but there are people talking to me about pooling resources so that we can put people to work with good paying jobs. That's my job.
I'm going to bring in our next guest here, and he perhaps represents an example of that. McGee Rehabilitation just completed a $6 million expansion, John, that you were involved in. I know you took a tour of that. Of McGee yesterday, just yesterday. Tell us about it.
McGee's close to my heart. It's maybe the best kept secret in Philadelphia. I said you ride by, you don't even know it's there. I mean, when you ride down 17th Street, you're taking a look all over the place, and you probably don't realize that McGee is right at 17th and Race. And again, this guy at Ron Siggs is one of the key people there. They're loaded with talented people. They've put a lot of people back in play. You know, I personally, my family's been there. We spent a couple years there, as you all very well know. But Ron, why don't you jump in and just let people know how beautiful and how you're expanding and what does McGee have cooking? And they do it 100% union. We can't thank you enough for that, too.
John, thanks much. What can I say? It's good to talk to you after seeing you yesterday, as you know. I mean, McGee Rehabilitation Hospital is in Center City. We focus on physical and cognitive rehabilitation for folks that have had, in often cases, life-changing and catastrophic situations, as you know, John. And we're just about to complete a major expansion on our rooftop where we are building a creative therapy center and healing gardens. And actually, it's funny because, as you guys know, the Flower Show kicked off, last night and today. And this vision came to us about 5 years ago with the Flower Show. And we realized that we could use horticulture, if you will, gardening, and marry that with health and make people better. And that's really what we do on a daily basis. We change lives. We put people back together, just like your loved one, John, that you know too well. And that's what we're about. And we're excited that we are building a creative therapy center, healing gardens on a roof. One of the healing gardens is named after our beloved Charlie Manuel. We all know who he is, because he helped us raise, frankly, about $500,000 to make this happen. And he's been a longtime McGee friend, as have you, John, and we have some great things going on.
I want to tell you, Ron, I seen that open space. You know, I hope you're saving that for medical marijuana, because I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that, and I just want to let you know. You know, when you have spent some time there, and you can't pray, cry, okay, anymore. You can't sleep, and you walk around and you see the kids that you keep in there. And again, you do a wonderful job. And anything that we can get, okay, and legalize anything that gives these kids a chance to get out of that wheelchair and maybe go, you know, have a catch with Charlie Manuel, I'm in. So save that big garden. I can't wait to be riding down that street and see them big green trees growing up there, okay? And McGee, I'm always going to be a fan, whatever we can do. And again, there's a lot of people in the labor movement, and they think that you just do the major crisis, but you take care of a lot of people who get damaged on a job too. And it's something that we're going to have to do a better job of marketing, because you've got your little boutique atmosphere there, but you guys take care of a lot of people, and it's a well-kept secret. And we got guys that travel all over to get the care that you can give right in the heart of Philadelphia.
Well, thank you, John. You're right. I mean, you tend to think of the catastrophic cases, but you know this. I mean, we have a workers' compensation line at which we're dealing with folks that are work warriors, weekend warriors, knees, hips, ankles, elbows, shoulders. And the fact is, all of us are active. It doesn't matter if you're 20, if you're 50, if you're 60, I'm 57. If you're active enough, sooner or later you're going to need physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, some type of rehabilitation. And McGee is there to help people. McGee is there to change lives and to make a difference in our community. And the fact is, we can't do it without help from you too, John. And you know this. We're wonderful to have you as a partner, as a friend, and thank you. I can't thank you enough for being on Team McGee with us.
Yeah, look, people, usually you got from Billy Cunningham and Howard Eskin to all the way up to Fran Dunphy and them guys. You got some great relationships inside the Philadelphia sports world, and you do some fabulous work there, too. Most people don't realize that, Adam Teleferro had his accident at Penn State. He came to you, and then he walked back out on that field one day. And that was a McGee product, and you did a great job. And, thanks for calling in, and we're going to run on you now, but I just want to let you know, Ron, keep doing what you're doing. Tell Mark, tell Jack, tell the whole team over there we said hello.
You got it. Take care, John. Thanks much. Happy St. Pat's Day. Great to see you, and God bless you all. Thank you. Go McGee. Go John Doc. Go IBEW. Take care, folks.
That's Ron Siggs joining us here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. Ron mentioned the Flower Show. The Flower Show, by the way, kicked off today and will run through March 19th. So do yourself a favor and get to the flower show. It is, J-Doc, certainly a real treat.
Absolutely, no question about it. We'll be heading down there thanks to Johnny Doc and a couple tickets I just got. So listen, everybody's been seeing in the news there's been a strike that's going on in Delaware County Hospital, where nurses were on a 2-day strike that actually got extended. I'm happy to have Patty Eakin, the president of PASNAP, on the line. Patty, welcome to the show.
John and Joe.
Yes. Welcome to the show. We just mentioned that obviously the strike, the 2-day strike it was supposed to be, was all across the news this last week. Tell us about what happened and how it got extended.
Well, the nurses have been in bargaining for about 9 months with Prospect, which is a hedge fund, a multi-billion-dollar corporation who cares more about making money than they do about giving care. So the nurses were getting nowhere on the question of safe staffing, so they decided to have a 2-day strike. And as you know, in the healthcare industry, you have to give a 10-day notice so that they can make plans. And what this company did was they hired these scabs from all over the country. There's a scab agency that brings in nursing and tech scabs. And the hospital claimed that to bring them in for our 2-day strike, they had to give them a 5-day contract. So they locked us out there for another 3 days. And so in order to accommodate some scabs from other parts of the country, they kept the nurses away from their patients.
And hopefully no one got, really sick during that 3 days. That's for darn sure. But first of all, tell everybody, before we go, what were the issues and what led to this strike?
The main issues, the first issue always is safe staffing. They wouldn't even talk to us about it. They said, you can go into a committee anytime you want and talk. But, we know that committees in hospitals resolve nothing. Committees exist before there's even a union. So, committees are useless unless they have some teeth and power behind them. So that was the main thing. I guess the second thing you could say is the health insurance. They have a terrible health insurance plan. They introduced a whole new program that's worse than the previous one was. They want the right, get this, during the life of the contract, they want the right to raise the premium rates at any time. So how is that a contract if one side can change it at any time? That's not even a contract.
Now, before we go, what's the status and where, what is the prognosis here?
Well, the nurses went back to work on Friday. They said that the strike was a wonderful, life-changing event. They learned a meeting of solidarity. They met other nurses and techs from all over the hospital, and they believe that they're doing the right thing, and they feel stronger than ever. What management decides to do, we don't know, but the nurses and techs there are going to continue to fight for what they think is right.
Well, listen, just want you to know we're here for you. Keep us updated on it, and thanks for sharing, Patty. Always love to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Patty, thanks for everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good stuff from Patty Eakin checking in here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. We're going to go to a break. Before we do, John, I just want you to re-emphasize again that meeting that you had was in New York, but that was a big meeting. That's big news.
Yeah, what we're doing is we're setting up we have a meeting April 4th down in D.C., and what we're trying to do is, again, we're trying to get a series of unions in the Philadelphia region to pull a lot of pension money, then to go down and then to sit down with some of the investment bankers, the Goldman Sachses of the world. I know, taboo, but we're going to sit down and then get the government and then come up with, $1 trillion worth of work. That's how we're going to put America back to work. Okay, you seriously want to, make America great again? If there is a play on words, I just want to let you know the easiest way to get us back to the middle class is to pay decent wages with benefits, and that's what we're looking to do.
Talking about what you're talking about. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I believe there's room, okay, for the national building trades, the local building trades, that have partnerships with the Trump administration as it pertains to energy, as it pertains to infrastructure, as it pertains to the undocumented worker.
About a post pattern from here, 80 years ago, the first NFL draft was held. And guess what? We're back. We're back in Philadelphia, and we're back strong.
Ron Jaworski on the podium talking about the NFL draft, joining us on the hotline from the Philadelphia Area Labor Management Committee. He's the executive director, Tony Wigglesworth, now on Saturday Night Live with Philly Labor and John Dougherty. Tony, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tony, we've been talking about the NFL draft. I told the boys here tonight that we're real close to getting an agreement. Why don't you tell people what goes into getting an agreement and let everybody know what Tony Wigglesworth does? I mean, he's the man behind the scenes at the DNC. He's the man behind the scenes at the papal visit. And every day he's doing something to make sure a refinery's more productive or a school's cleaner and safer.
Thank you for the kind comments. It's best for all of us if I stay behind the scenes. What it takes is collaboration, and what it takes is leadership. And the leadership of the Building Trades Council, the leadership of our contractors, the leadership of our owners makes Philadelphia one of the most successful labor towns in the country. It also makes us one of the most successful business towns in the country.
Tony, real quickly, tell me about the comparison between the DNC and the NFL draft in regards to magnitude.
The work itself is much less than the work involved with the DNC. The politics, pun intended, are much less with the NFL draft than they are with the Democratic National Committee that we had in Philadelphia and with the convention. That said, it presents a number of challenges. Obviously, we're going to be outdoors. Obviously, it's a different place. Obviously, it's a different mix of building trades and non-building trades unions. And obviously, we have stronger leadership within the building trades now in terms of leading the charge.
That's Tony Wigglesworth listening in on the show tonight and joining us here on Saturday Night Live with Philly Labor. As a man who stays behind the scenes myself, Tony, I want to congratulate you for the work. Well done, sir. Thanks very much for calling in.
Thank you very much, and have a nice evening.
That's good stuff from Tony Wigglesworth here as we roll along on Saturday Night Live right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. J-Doc, a quick hour. Let me come to you with just some closing thoughts. I know you've got some shout-outs and everything else. Let me come over to you.
I want to shout out to all the workers working in the elements, first responders, construction workers, just doing a great job out there in bitter cold weather like they do. These buildings don't just put themselves up, number one. And number two, big thumbs down to Wendy's. Because they're planning on self-ordering kiosks at about 1,000 locations, or to put about 10,000 people out of work who really need the money. I mean, nothing like corporate greed. So that's my little 2 cents for tonight.
Saturday Night Live with Philly Labor and John Dougherty. I remind all of our listeners we're presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness, serious doctors for serious injuries, and also powered by Pond, Lahaki, Stern, Giordano, unmistakable, the workers' compensation law firm. John, before we get to your last word, we do have time for at least one additional inside baseball comment. I know we had a big one to start the show. We come back to you for some inside baseball.
E. Allen Reeves, maybe the biggest non-union general contractor. Chapter 11, okay, reorganization. Bonding company coming in and reaching out to union contractors to finish up their work. That is a big, big item.
I guess, paying people lightly and paying people, terrible wages doesn't pay off after all.
Don't forget, coming up at the end of the show, following Saturday Night Live, Christine Flowers will be in for the Dan Loney Show tonight. So Christine will be along and take you home from 8 to 11. Stay tuned to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. What a great show we had tonight. Great job. And thank all of our listeners. We come now we've got to get some, I've got to work with Jason. I've got to come up with some lead-in music for this. The most desired moment of the show is Doc's last word. And I know you came in here with fire and vigor tonight before when we sat down to do the pre-show at 6 o'clock. Time now for John Dougherty's last word.
Yeah, listen, I have to disagree with my good friend Dom Giordano here tonight. He's been talking about the soda tax, and he's been talking about a guy by the name of Jeff Brown. They're talking like he's like some superstar. Basically, he's a spoiled brat. Okay, here's a guy that has got millions of dollars of RCAP money, okay, which is basically state taxes. Then, as recently as yesterday, he put in for a loan at PIDC, another city organization, quasi-state organization that gives low-interest loans. Okay, this guy, when the soda tax went through, he decided to play union against union. He decided to raise the prices across the board. He decided to make a political statement because he put a lot of money into a political fight with the mayor and he lost. Okay, people should understand that when the soda tax came, his $5 million house in Rittenhouse Square, he didn't put up for sale. He didn't go back to Jersey from where he came from. He's a spoiled brat. He's not a superstar.
And that's John Dougherty's last word here on Saturday Night Live with Philly Labor. Don't forget, we remind all of our listeners tomorrow. What time, John, tomorrow? You want to get in early and get ready for what is going to be a fantastic day in the city.
Yeah, 9 a.m.'s the Mass. You want to be over around City Hall around 11 o'clock. We're going to keep moving. It's going to be a fast-moving parade. And remember, please put them clocks ahead an hour.
J-Doc, last give you a chance to comment on Pastificio and how we started the broadcast on a night before we get into the parade. How did you enjoy the sandwich?
Best meatball sandwich I ever had in my life. And if I can do anything to nab those last two on the table, you'll never see me. You won't see me for a week, fellas.
Special thanks to Brian McCann for the Federal Donuts. Thank you, brother Jason behind the glass, for producing a great show. Thank you very much. And to all of our callers who came in tonight, great stuff with Inside Baseball leading off tonight. Special thanks to Alan Butkovitz.
Nova wins. It's going to be a #1 seed. Also, the Eagles, I think they moved in the right direction this week. You know, picking up 2 receivers. I don't know about you, but I was so sick and tired of watching the receivers, especially Nelson Aguilar, drop passes one after another last year. So we got 2 receivers who can catch the ball.
Absolutely. All right, great stuff. Thanks to all of our listeners, all of our callers, and the entire Delaware Valley, and of course our sponsors for being part of Saturday Night Live with Philly Labor. On behalf of J-Doc Jr., thank you very much, J-Doc, and of course on behalf of our host, John Dougherty. I'm Joe Krause. We'll see you next time.